So, what happens when the anti-hero actually wins? After all the scheming and the fighting is finally over, we're going to dive into that very question today, using the dark story of a man named Cillian to see what happens when you get everything you ever wanted and it costs you everything you are.
All right, to really get Cillian's story, you've got to understand this one key difference. See, a hero's journey, that's all about a call to serve, right? Helping the community. But for an anti-hero, well, it's a call to opportunity, a shot at personal gain. And trust me, that one little shift makes all the difference in the world.
And there's actually a name for this motivation: honest greed. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some shameful secret. For the anti-hero, that raw, out-in-the-open desire for more wealth, more status, more power, that's the whole engine. It's the rocket fuel for their entire journey.
And that greed, it's usually coupled with this other really potent idea: noble power. This is the core belief that, hey, I know best. It's not about what's good for everyone else, it's about taking the reins, because, deep down, they're convinced the world would be a much better place if they were the one calling all the shots. Okay, so you've got honest greed and noble power pushing the whole thing forward. Now let's see how that all comes to a head in the brutal final act. We're jumping back in with our guy, Cillian, on his road back, a path paved not with glory, but with the heavy price of silver.
So it's late 1171, and Cillian is finally heading home. But this is no victory parade. Nope, this is a desperate scramble in the dark. That silver he fought so hard for, it's basically painted a giant target on his back. Every family he double-crossed is now out for his blood, turning him into a ghost that only moves at night.
I mean, think about it. The guy is ridiculously rich, but his past is this massive, dark cloud following him everywhere. He's being hunted by a group called the Dispossessed. And yeah, they're the people he, dispossessed. All that money, and he can't buy a good night's sleep. He's this phantom in the woods, using those incredible archer skills just to stay alive one more day.
And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? He is wealthy, but he can never build a campfire, for every flicker of light invites a vengeful blade. Just let that sink in. He has all the money in the world, but he can't even have the simple warmth of a fire. That right there is the price he paid.
Okay, so this constant running and hiding, it pushes him to a breaking point. And when he finally makes it back to his childhood home, a place called the Hollow, he's got to make a choice. A choice that's going to completely unmake the man he was and create something else entirely.
So he gets there, and it's not what he expected. At all. He finds a pile of burnt ruins, and to add insult to injury, there's a Norman garrison camped out there. A new regime that has no idea who he is and could not care less about his so-called deed to the land.
So what does he do? To get back what he sees as his, Cillian just throws away the very last piece of loyalty he has left. What he does next is nothing short of a masterclass in cold-blooded manipulation. He pits the Normans against the Irish rebels who are sieging the place. And while they're fighting it out, his arrows, one by one, pick off the leaders on both sides. He creates total chaos, a vacuum of power, and guess who's there to step right into it?
And this right here, this is the moment he crosses a line he can never uncross. In that bloodbath, he's not just taking out his rivals, he's killing a part of himself. He is systematically cutting every single thread that connects him to anyone, to community, to loyalty, to a sense of home. And in the place of the man, something else is born. He becomes the ghost of the woods. He's not really a person anymore, is he? He's more like a force, a solitary power, defined by one thing and one thing only: his skill with a bow and the isolation it buys him.
So there you have it. He won. He got the land, the power, everything. But what does that victory really feel like? What kind of prize is this tainted elixir he fought so hard for?
Man, when you put what he wanted next to what he got, it's just brutal. He wanted to live a noble life, right? Instead, the locals think he's a literal demon. He wanted all that silver? Can't even build a fire. He wanted power? He's stuck alone in a cold tower. He wanted security? Now all he does is watch the trees, waiting for the next attack.
His whole situation is a dead ringer for the old myth of Stingy Jack. You know the one, the guy who's cursed to wander forever between heaven and hell with just a burning coal for light. That's Cillian. He's trapped in his own personal hell, holding this great prize that gives him zero comfort. None.
And that's the whole idea behind the tainted elixir.
The reward itself is poisoned by how you got it. Sure, Cillian has the land, he has the silver, but he paid for it with his soul. He's got no one, no friends, no kin, not a single moment of peace.
So what's the end game here? What does the anti-hero look like when he's finally standing on top of the mountain he built?
Well, he becomes the master of two worlds. He has a foot in both camps, the world of the conquerors and the world of the conquered. But the real kicker, he doesn't belong in either one. He's a complete outcast, a king of a kingdom of one. I love this analogy. It's just perfect for Cillian's situation. He's like a guy who burns down every single bridge to his fortress to make sure it's safe, and it works. The castle is totally secure, but then he looks around and realizes he's trapped himself inside. He's a prisoner in the very castle he fought to win.
And that leaves us with this one final, chilling image. Cillian, standing on the walls of his tower, bow always in hand. A king of nothing, the master of a graveyard. Just a man, alone with his treasure, watching the tree line, forever waiting for the next shadow to move.
So, in the end, Cillian got everything he thought he wanted. He played the game and he won. But it really makes you wonder, and it's the question at the heart of every anti-hero story. Is a throne that's built on a pile of ashes really a throne worth having?